Thank you. Good afternoon, Monroe County. This is the meeting of the Monroe County Solid Waste Management District, Thursday, April 14th, 2022. This is the Board of Directors, and we'll begin with an attendance roll call.
Munson,
Here,
Thomas, Githens,
Here.
Hamilton, Piedmont Smith,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
Swafford. You have a quorum.
thank you.
I would just, Ms. Thomas did advise that she does plan to attend, but will be late.
But she will be late. Okay. But luckily, we have a quorum. Let us begin with executive committee meeting minutes, which are included in the packet for everyone's information. There's no action on this item. But our first action item is approval of minutes. Ms. Piedmont Smith, would you like to begin with motions on these?
Yes, I move approval of the Board of Director meeting minutes from February 10th, 2022. Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on these minutes? Anything from the public? We'll have a roll call vote, please. Oh, I could do a voice vote on this, can I not? Because we don't have,
Since all participants are here in person, I would think that you
Yeah.
could, yes.
okay. All in favor of approving the minutes for February 10th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Next minutes, please.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the Board of Director meeting minutes from March 10th, 2022. Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on these minutes from the board or from the public? Seeing none, we'll move then to a voice vote. All in favor of approving the minutes for March 10th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The motion passes unanimous. Now, we have with us on Zoom the district's controller, Ms. Kathy Martin. Welcome, Ms. Martin. Can you
Get off mute there, sorry.
Good.
Thank you.
Would you like to begin with cash flows for us?
I will do that. The cash flow summary is on page 17 of the packet, and that was replaced by the document that I emailed out to you today. It was also marked as page 17, but it's a replacement. I apologize again for that. The only change on that was to update the operating line figures. So as of March 31st, the ending balance in the operating account was $1,898,966.82. The savings account was $1,847.32. Closure bond debt was $7,511.63. Capital account was $45,429.66, and the landfill post-closure account was $742,180.25. The individual cash flow statements for those balances follow on pages 18 to 20 and 22 to 24. The cash balance graph is in the middle of those on page 21. So questions on the cash flow statements?
I don't have any questions on cash flow. I think we're all good, and thank you for that presentation. Would you like to move now to payroll and claims?
Yes, on page 25 is a listing of the pre-approved claims, and that's in the amount of $155,554.11. The backup documentation follows on for all of those on pages 26 to 39. Since we did not have any accounts payable this week, being our off week in the biweekly pay schedule, that pre-approved amount of $155,554.11 is the total amount of claims that I approve and am submitting for your approval. Questions on those claims?
Ms. Piedmont Smith.
Yes, let me just get to it here, my comments. I did have a couple of questions. First of all, just the format of the document on page 25, it has pre-approved claims. I was a little confused because it didn't break out the payroll, and the payroll section of that memo is blank. But some of those pre-approved claims are payroll, right?
I'm trying to get to that page. I'm sorry. I didn't have that in my notes. Hang on just a second. Let me.
Ms. Piedmont-Smith, I'm sorry, which are on page 26 of the packet? Is that what you're?
25.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
Yes.
pre-approved, but they were also payroll, so I'm just not sure how to read this memo.
And I think that may be an oversight with our change to the biweekly process and having no claims due during a board meeting, because that section there would normally be where we would present any payroll and claims that would be due for approval at the board meeting. And so it may be something where we need to reformat how we present this sheet, particularly for meetings where there's nothing due for approval at the meeting.
Because normally, and I'm sorry, I do have that up here now, the pre-approved claims with the dates above, the 3/11 to 4/13, that's normally just everything from that time period. And those are broken out on those sheets afterwards into the difference between the accounts payable and the payroll and payroll claims. Normally, what we've done is use that other section to break those things out for the things that we were paying this week. So again, like Tom said, we would have to just reformat that because that's never been the way that we've done this. That section where there's nothing is the section for this week. And we didn't have anything this week because of that being our off week.
Page 26 of the packet does show the itemized breakdown of that $155,000 amount.
Yes, I saw that. Okay, so if you could just rephrase the section on page 25 that says payroll dated and make it clear that that's just things that have not been pre-approved.
It's a template format, and there was no information to put in into that section this week.
It was a little confusing.
We'll
All
just
right.
take that section out if we don't have
Yeah, you can
anything.
leave it out. Yeah. Okay, then I had a question about the claims docket. There was on page 31, there were legal fees regarding host fees paid to Carmen Parker. Mr. McGlasson, could you just briefly tell us what these consultations were about?
Yeah, and this was something it's been a while, but previously discussed and decided that given the history with Ms. Parker and her familiarity with the Republic Services host fee agreement, that we would use her to help us draft the host fee agreement to present to Rumpke for them to consider for their new facility. And so that's what we've started working on that, and that's what those fees are for.
And where are we in that process? Is it ongoing?
I have a draft from her that I am reviewing, and I don't think there's much to change, and we would have next month, either in what's today's date, in May or June. I would anticipate that we would have a final draft for this board to review and approve, submitting to Rumpke for their consideration.
Thank you very much. And then my last question is bottom of page 37, there's a claim for Lambert Consulting for a podcast sponsorship for $675. I would just like to know, some podcasts really don't have very many listeners, and it's harder still to know how many of those listeners would be local. So this is the first time I've seen a podcast sponsorship. Maybe there have been some in the past. Maybe I missed them, but I want to know a little bit more about that. If you have it.
We did this last year. with them. And I apologize, off the top of my head, I do not have member or viewership participation numbers, but we can certainly get that from them and what information they have about where they're located to see exactly what our reach out of that expense is. We can certainly get that information and provide that.
Yes, I'd like to know how many subscribers there are to that podcast and whether there's any demographic info about them.
That's a really good question. What brought about this plan for the podcast last year? Was this just outreach during the pandemic?
Yeah, that in essence is where it originated. They approached us about doing that, and at that time we were looking for ways to be able to continue to do education and outreach through the pandemic and all the challenges that presented. And ultimately, that's where we decided to give that a try. And like I said, we can, I believe I have the subscription data from last summer, and I can see what he's got projected for this summer and provide that to the board.
So this didn't come about from any other type of program. It was just something that the company came up with and offered to us as a possibility.
Yes,
Okay.
I mean, and I would add, I mean, it's Lambert Consulting is who puts this on, and that is somebody that that's who currently we've worked with to do the new website. We've done some website maintenance and management with them. So there's a previous relationship with that company.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Anything else on payroll and claims? Ms. Piedmont Smith, are you ready with your?
Yes, I move approval of payroll and claims as presented in our packet.
Second.
Any further questions or comments on payroll and claims? Any public comment? Since it involves money, we should have a roll call vote. Is that correct?
That would be fine.
Please.
Githens,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Munson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the orange bag request for bid. And seems like we've talked a lot about orange bag. Okay, Mr. McGlasson, take it away.
Yeah, this is following up. If you recall, last month we presented the bids received in response to request for bid that we issued. We only had the one response that happened to be from our current vendor. At that time, the board raised some questions, concerns regarding an escalation clause that was in their proposal, and asked if staff could go back and see about entering into an agreement with them for 1 year instead of 3 at that same or a lesser price. And they came back, they're willing to do a shorter agreement, but the shorter the agreement, the higher the price goes. So what you have there on page 40 of the packet in the memo, you can see the per bag cost and an annualized cost based on our historical ordering numbers. And then additionally, some questions were asked regarding, the retail cost of the bags, how much the district gets off the sale of the bags, the cost for the process and disposal of the bags. And on page 41, you have some of that information. And I apologize at the bottom.
Can you project that for the public from your packet, please?
Let me get the packet up. Is that, not sure. From where I am,
Yeah.
I don't know how visible that is. But at the bottom, I did do, we provided an estimated disposal cost, which unfortunately, I apologize, is a straight line cost that doesn't take into account some of the ancillary costs the district absorbs to operate the rural sites and deal with the transportation of the bags. I can tell you that I just didn't have time to do it before the packet was put together. I do have been able to complete that. The current, let's see, does that, the currently, and this is, this takes into account both the big bags and the small bags combined.
Okay.
It costs us an average of $1.23 a bag to purchase the bags, get them out to the retailers, and accept them at the sites, transport them to a disposal facility, and pay for the disposal cost. Under the prices proposed by Waste Zero, for a 1-year agreement, that's going to go up to $1.35 a bag. For a 2-year agreement, $1.34 a bag, and a 3-year agreement, $1.33 a bag. So I think that, given our current pricing structure of $1.25 for a small bag and $1.50 for a large bag, I think that the pricing structure as is in line even with the newer costs. And I think that, and I would add that I think that the reason that we can do that is when we did the new hauling and transportation agreement, the hauling costs decreased, and the pricing structure that we're currently under was done under a higher transportation cost.
Okay, so I would just like the public that uses the orange bag system for their trash disposal to really focus in on the cost per bag. Would you summarize for them just the purchase price on the bag, and then what it costs the district to dispose of the trash?
Yeah, I mean, it's we do offer the retailers that sell the bags for us a discount to cover their cost to manage that. So, what the public would pay at a retailer is $15 for a roll of 10 33-gallon bags, or $12.50 for a roll of 20 15-gallon bags. The vendors pay us $14.25 and $11.88 for those rolls. And then you can see on page 41 of the packet, the district pays $42.70 a ton for the disposal of those orange bags. And I think what's not in there is that we pay, which regardless of the facility they originate from, we pay $102 for each time one of those compactor boxes of orange bags is pulled and hauled to the transfer station.
Okay. So the public is getting quite a good deal, even though they think they're paying for all the costs when they buy their orange bag. They are not, because the district is picking up a significant portion of the cost. And I think that's important for people to understand.
Right. And our goal is not to have this to be a revenue, or I guess a profit-driven program. The goal is to have it be a wash and a break even on the district. And like I said, at the current pricing structure, even with the higher price due to the transportation costs going down over the years, I think that we're still going to be in line with that goal.
So Ms. Piedmont Smith.
So as I understand it, for just considering the large bags, the public currently pays $1.50 per bag. The disposal and the cost of the bag for the district, that combined cost comes to about 60 cents. But then we have to add the cost of our staff, our facilities, our equipment, transportation, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, utilities, insurance, yeah.
And so that,
You factor all of that in, and I get it. I apologize, I can't tell you exactly what a large bag costs or a small bag, but the combination of the two averages out currently to $1.23 a bag, and then under the new pricing structure from $1.33 to $1.35 a bag, depending on how many years we want to agree to.
wait, I'm sorry, what costs $1.33 per bag?
If under the pricing proposals from Waste Zero, if we do if we do a 3-year agreement with them, the increased bag cost takes the district's cost to process an orange bag all the way to disposal goes up to $1.33. If we go to a 1-year agreement, it goes to $1.35.
So a 2-cent difference.
I'm sorry.
A 2-cent difference.
Yeah, between
How do
the,
you get that $1.33? Where does that number come from?
with the current price being $1.23, if you substitute the price per bag cost in the proposal with our current price per bag cost, it goes from $1.23 to $1.33, 34, 35, depending on the term of the agreement.
I guess I'm a little confused because I'm looking at your memo and it says the 1-year agreement, a single large bag is 37.5 cents. So are you adding the 60 cents or whatever, even? I don't know how you get $1.23. I'm sorry.
We currently pay 23.5 cents for a 33-gallon bag.
Yeah.
So under the new agreement, whether 1, 2, or 3 years, that's either going to go to 35, 36 and a quarter, or 37.5 cents a bag.
Mhm.
So that takes the price, that takes our total price, our total processing cost from $1.23 to either $1.33, 34, or 35.
And you get the $1.23. How do you get that figure?
That's our current pricing structure to purchase the bags. And then factoring all of those same, the disposal cost, the transportation, personnel expenses, utilities, insurance.
Oh, okay. So you have factored in all those things.
Yeah. To get that, and that's not in the packet. I apologize. I
Okay.
didn't have
Yeah,
time
I'm
to
trying to
calculate all
follow
that
here.
before I got it in the packet.
Okay, so when you factor in the less visible expenses that you list here on page 2 of your memo, it costs the district about $1.23 to dispose of each bag.
Yeah.
Large bag. So in your opinion, we could keep the cost to the consumer the same and absorb the increase presented with this this quote.
Well, I think when you look at the structure of the fee resolution, where we established the retail cost for those bags and the fact that the district is not trying to profit off of this program, given that we've had reduced transportation costs over the years, the current pricing should be sufficient to absorb the price increase. And that's not to say that there's not going to be a financial impact on the district, because over the years we've gotten used to that cushion, and that revenue has been used somewhere, and there may be a need for some adjustment when we go through the next budget cycle. But as far as justifying the price that we charge to the public, what we currently charge is in line with the costs that we just discussed with the new price for bags. So.
Thank you.
Good. Other questions or comments about bags?
Well, we had discussed this a good bit in the executive committee meeting, and one of the conclusions that I came away with is that if we only go with a one-year agreement, we have no idea how much the price might increase in the second or third year. And this, while it builds in a 3% plus whatever increase there is with the CPI, a 3-year agreement here would give us some predictability about what the cost is going to be. And so,
Yeah, and that's the catch to it. There's just no way to predict, what, the resin prices, which is what Waste Zero will base their pricing on, and what they will do. The CPI takes a lot more of that than those resin prices into account, and the escalation clause does use the CPI, but it's just so hard to predict, particularly with everything going on right now and what that means a year from now. We could do a 1-year agreement, come out ahead. We could do a 1-year agreement and come out behind. And the same thing for a 2 and a 3-year agreement.
right. The thing is that we did see a significant rise for what's predicted for next year, and we could see an equivalent or a greater rise unless we lock something in, is what.
I'm sorry.
We could see a much greater rise if we only have a 1-year agreement than what would be, than what we're agreeing to
Mhm.
here. If we do a 3-year.
And if inflation stays, the way it's trending now, that price increase next year could be hefty based on that escalator clause. At the same time, the way that I interpreted the wording, the odds are it wouldn't happen, but, it could potentially go down. I don't foresee the CPI dropping enough with their 3% added onto that for that to happen. But they did, if the CPI goes down, they would take that into account when they adjusted the price.
Thank you. Are there other questions or comments from the board?
Well, at this point, I'm in favor of a 3-year agreement. So,
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I would ask that we have a motion and a vote, to
Yes.
direct staff to
To-
enter into an agreement based
We
on
need
whichever term,
Right.
a length of term the board wishes.
Was that offered as a motion?
yes, I move that we sign a 3-year agreement with Waste Zero for the orange bags.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion among the board? Any board members? Ms. Piedmont Smith?
I agree with Commissioner Githens.
I'll make it easy. I agree with Commissioner Githens also. But so now I want to return to members of the public. Do you have any questions or comments on this point of business? Please.
We also watch oil prices because it increases the prices of our bags and of our holders, especially, and also for our fleet. So I think the volatility in the international political economy around oil is going to stay like this at least 2 years.
So only a semi-lock is how I view it. It sort of locks it, but it builds in consumer price index variability too. So
Plus 3%.
yeah, plus 3%.
I'd just like to ask that if any members of the public do wish to speak, please go to the podium and use the mic. It will pick up much better on the recording.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? We are ready then for a roll call vote, please.
Jones?
Yes.
Piedmont Smith?
Yes.
Githens?
Yes.
Munson?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. We will have orange bags. Okay, moving on now to a topic that's dear to my heart because I've been signing the claims by hand, signing all the checks. We have two resolutions regarding claims processing. And Mr. McGlasson, would you present these, please?
Certainly.
Oh, and before you begin, let's notice that Commissioner Thomas has joined us.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is something that staff and the executive committee have been discussing for a few months now. And looking at a way to make claims processing and approval and getting vendors paid more efficient for staff and for the board. And then also to do it in a manner that still maintains adequate internal controls. So that we're safeguarding the district money, which are public funds. So the first thing that we have is Resolution 2202, which is, I would say this is something that a number of other districts have done, and I did consult with some of them on how they set this process up and worked with their board on the approval of this. But so what we're doing is basically pre-authorizing the board. Passing this resolution would in essence pre-approve payments for claims for some specific categories of vendors or payments. So we're, our utility services, gas, electric, and water, any contractual obligations or leasing agreements. And for those two, there are known costs. And in general, going to be variation month to month in those payments, the amount that's due, or on some of the leases, depending on at what frequency the payment is due, it's going to be a consistent amount. And then we also, including in there, employee wages, payroll, and associated payroll expenses like taxes. And then the employee benefit premiums for insurance and so forth. So what this resolution will do will basically authorize staff to just process those claims, those bills when they come in, and get them paid promptly. And then we would, as we still currently do with the pre-approved claims, every board meeting, the board will be presented all of those claims that were paid since the previous board meeting under that, authorized under this resolution. The other thing to note in this resolution, number 3 under the now therefore, basically sunsets this resolution after 1 year, and the board would have to reauthorize it on an annual basis. And then the second resolution, 2203, revises the internal controls to account for this new process with the pre-approved claims. It also additionally, if you go through the revisions in the controls, and again, this is something we've had numerous discussions, staff and the executive committee, this would authorize the controller or the executive director to sign checks up to an amount of $50,000. That amount was determined based on some of our recurring monthly payments that we have, predominantly the health insurance premium and our Republic service disposal and hauling fees, which can be $30,000 or more in a given month. And I think and executive committee members can correct me if I'm wrong or missed anything, but I think that is pretty much the extent of the changes proposed here.
So I will just note for the packet that there's both a clean version of the internal controls proposal and a red line version so that you can see the changes made. And I want to thank the staff for their hard work on this. This is, as I understand it, a system designed just for Monroe County Solid Waste District. It deals with our business and how to be very efficient and effective in taking care of our business.
I remembered one other change that's in the internal controls that I didn't mention
Okay,
was accounting for and allowing for the district to establish ACH or electronic payment with vendors
Yes.
that it's appropriate to do so, and that the vendor is also set up to do that. And again, with the caveat that the board will be presented at each board meeting a list of all electronic payments that would have occurred since the previous board meeting.
so I would like to get motions on the table for us first, and then we'll have discussion. Are you ready, Ms. Piedmont Smith, for the first resolution?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move a resolution 2022-02, Monroe County Solid Waste Management District, resolution permitting payment of specific claims.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments from board members? We've already talked about this a lot. Questions or comments from the public? The podium is yours. We have talked this and talked this. It's not like we're entering into a major change without lots of discussion. So without further discussion needed here, may we have a roll call vote on the resolution?
Thomas,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes,
Githens,
Yes.
Munson.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Now for the resolution on revised internal controls.
Madam Chair, I move resolution 2022-03, Monroe County Solid Waste Management District, adoption of revised internal control standards.
Second.
Thank you. All right, questions or comments from the board? Seeing none. Questions or comments from the public? Moving to a roll call vote, please.
Githens,
Yes.
Munson,
Yes,
Jones,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you, everyone. And I will spend less time at the Solid Waste Management District office.
We will miss you.
They're going to start to miss me. Our next business is Leachate Hauling. Mr. McGlasson, we have your memorandum, but would you like to present this, please?
This, an unfortunate necessity from the vendor standpoint due to the current economic market, fuel costs predominantly. But the Bynum Faneuil Utilities, who hauls the leachate from the landfill when necessary, has asked to amend the price in the agreement. I would note that the agreement that was originally entered into it did technically expire after 12 months. And off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly when that was, but it was not formally renewed. Both parties continued to operate under the terms as agreed to in that agreement. And legal counsel has offered the opinion that that is an implied contract. So there is still an implication of a contract being in place. And that the board would be within their rights to approve a price adjustment to that agreement.
So we have this memorandum before us. I think we can have a motion about the price increases. Ms. Piedmont Smith?
yes, I move approval of the proposed price increases for our Leachate Hauling services agreement with Bynum Faneuil Utilities.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Ms. Piedmont Smith?
Yes, Mr. McGlasson, when we entered into this agreement with Bynum Faneuil, I think it was a little over 2 years ago, maybe. We bid out this contract, right?
Correct.
And got a few proposals. And at that time, how long did we envision this agreement to be for?
Well, like I said, the initial agreement was a 12-month agreement. And there was within there, there was an opportunity to formally extend or renew the agreement. That was not done. Both parties just agreed to continue under the existing terms, which according to legal counsel creates an implied contract. And so we can still take action like this as if we were under a formal agreement.
And I believe another, maybe it was 3 years ago. Was it 2019 or 20?
I believe 2019 was when the original agreement was entered into.
And if I recall correctly, there another proposal or another possible vendor is somebody who's not in business anymore, right?
Is not what?
Is not in business anymore? It's not.
No, they are still in business. It's, an unfortunate event. The proprietor of that business passed away shortly after we went through that bid process. But his son has continued the business. They are still in operation, to my knowledge.
So is it your sense that it would be worthwhile, perhaps not now, but in the near future, to put another call out for proposals? Or is it your sense that this is the most qualified and probably most cost-effective business to enter into an agreement with?
Well, I mean, I would, I say that, businesses grow, shrink, come and go. And, there certainly may be a time in the future where it would be appropriate to see quotes, proposals, or bids again. At this point in time, I think given the relationship and the history with Bynum Faneuil Utilities, it would be appropriate to go ahead and move forward with this. I don't believe that another company would be in a position to do much better, if at all, on pricing. The advantage that Bynum Faneuil has is that they own, they operate the town of Ellisville's wastewater treatment plant. They have their own facility to take it to for disposal, and don't, another company coming in would potentially be in a position to have to account for both their cost to transport it and the cost for the disposal at whichever facility they elect to take it to.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Just something to note, I don't have any issues with this contract and I understand the price increase, but I think that our attorney can look at this, but we are in Monroe County government using a non-discrimination clause in every contract. And I would like us to do that in the future.
Okay.
Or to think about it at least. I think it's important to have that. It's not in this contract, but I think that would be a good thing to think about for future contracts.
Sure.
Thank you.
Certainly. The agreement that you're looking at is the same agreement we originally entered into, just the price has changed. So it was not in the original agreement either. An oversight, and we can certainly keep that in mind for any future agreements.
Yeah, for any business.
For
It's not just
For any vendor, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So, very good. Thank you for bringing that up. Other discussion or comment? I will just comment for the public that payment for leachate disposal is one of the big ticket items for the solid waste management district. And it's also an operation that can be time sensitive. Sometimes there can be a real problem with leachate production that has to be managed, and you have to have a contractor who's responsive to get out there and deal with it before it becomes a bigger problem. So,
Yeah, there over time in the past, there certainly have been times where, a pump goes down in the middle of the night and we have to have somebody that can get there because we can't have a lift station overflow.
yeah. Okay, so thank you all for taking care of this. Any questions or comments from the public? Then we are ready to have an approval by roll call vote.
Munson,
Yes,
Thomas,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes,
Githens,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. Next, we will discuss appointments to the Citizens Advisory Committee. And there are two requests for appointment from Mr. Mason Greenberg and Mr. Ryan Edwards. But also I would like to announce that, or I regret to announce actually, that one CAC member has submitted her resignation. This was in early April, Miss Adelaide Petrovu, and she will be traveling for an extended period of time, so unable to attend. And we want to thank Miss Adelaide for her participation, and when she comes back, maybe she'll be able to join us again. So, Mr. McGlasson, do you want to present any information about Mr. Greenberg or Mr. Edwards?
I can. I would also, when I am done, ask the board to offer or to allow Mr. Winya any comments. The CAC chair, if he has any, as I believe he has a prior relationship with both of these individuals. But Mr. Greenberg is someone who I believe at Mr. Winya's invitation did attend the February CAC meeting as a member of the public. As a result of attending that meeting and his interaction with some CAC members, did decide that it's something that he would like to be a part of. He did include his resume, which is in the packet, which I think is pretty impressive resume, and a lot of things on there that align very well with the district and what it does and what it's trying to do. And it certainly does look like he would be a good member to have on the CAC. Ryan Edwards is somebody I'm a little less familiar with, but did indicate in the letter, currently seeking a dual master's at the O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs, which obviously is good programs, a lot of programs there that also align well with the district's mission and goals. So they both would appear to be good potential members to the CAC.
Thank you. Let's put a motion on the table, please, for our consideration.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the appointment of Mason Greenberg and Ryan Edwards to the CAC.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, comments from board members? I will comment that I'm very happy to have this continued interest and expansion of our CAC. Are there questions or comments from the public?
Can I clarify?
Yes.
Was the motion for both individuals?
Yes. Yes, it was.
I would just mention that Ms. Edwards does use the she, her pronouns.
Yes, she does. And Ms. Munson didn't pay attention. She just looked at the name Ryan. Apologies. So we are ready then for a roll call vote. All in favor of approving Mr. Greenberg and Ms. Edwards, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion is unanimous. And welcome to you both. We're glad to have you. Next, we're going to hear a lot more from the CAC. their monthly report, please. Mr. Joseph Winia takes the podium.
Indeed. Afternoon, board members. Thank you for the opportunity for the update. There isn't actually a lot more to add since we were just discussing mostly what's happened with the CAC in the past month, which is related to membership. I will just add that our last regular meeting did involve a lot of conversation about the need for regular attendance and how to manage it with the hybridization of meetings. So we've had mixed success with a sheet for tracking how we intend to manage our virtual attendance to ensure that we have quorum as often as possible. That is actually all I have. Oh, I just wanted to note also another new member, Brad Lucas, attended our last meeting for the first time. So membership is increasing despite Adelaide Petroff's departure. That is all.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Winia? Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We will return now to department reports and start with the administration department.
The Earth Day promotion of selling great compost bins and rain barrels. The last day to order those was a Monday, the 11th. And we did sold a total of 36 compost bins and 61 rain barrels this year. And I will advise the board that in order to save it sounds funny to say it this way, but to save some costs, we're actually going to accept delivery of more than that so that they don't have to break up pallets. So we will potentially have, once those come in, some additional items available for sale. We're also discussing the potential of using those as some giveaway promotional items at some future the district may participate in. But fairly pleased with those numbers and obviously pleased to be able to have some additional items available for the district to sell or use for other purposes that may benefit the district. We're currently reaching out to potential waste tire processors and haulers, getting some pricing structures and in an effort to identify one to bring to the board to propose to contract with for a waste tire program at the district. Once we have a vendor identified and know what our pricing is going to be, we would then need to determine what fee the district will charge for tires that are brought to us. So that is moving forward and would hope that in the next couple, 2 to 3 months, we'll be able to have that program up and running for the public's benefit. Also, do want to let the board and the public know that the district's partnered with MC Iris on their calorie pair eradication effort this year, and have an event scheduled for June 18th at our South Walnut location, where we're going to try to remove the calorie pairs and any other invasive species that might be there in an effort to make that the vegetation that's there more native and less invasive. So we're excited about that. And if anybody is interested in helping out with that event, they can contact MC Iris to register to volunteer to participate in that. We certainly appreciate any help that we could get. So, I think that's really all that I have, but be happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Piedmont Smith.
Yes, for the MC Iris event, in addition to removing invasives, will there be planting of native species so we can have replacement trees and shrubs and stuff?
But potentially, we need to go back, sit down with them and go back through the inventory that they have done and look at how much are we actually talking about removing, and and if we're only if they've only identified a small amount of plants and trees that need to be removed, there may not, be a need or a desire to replant. But if we're going to be removing a good amount of material, then we would certainly, for erosion control, if nothing else, want to replace those trees, plants, and vegetation.
And would this effort include removing full-grown trees, mature trees?
Potentially, yes. Yeah, I mean, they have advised us to rent a chipper. So,
Wow.
so yeah, it's their intent is to come in, and regardless of size, if it's a cattle repair or an invasive species, we're going to make every effort to get it out of there.
Well, I hope we can get some dogwoods or something instead.
If other questions or comments from the board? Anything from the public? Thank you, Mr. McGlasson. Let's hear now from Mr. Joey Long about recycling and reuse, hazardous materials, and the rural recycling centers.
You guys can't see me. It says the host has stopped the video.
I have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now try.
There we go.
Thank you. There you are.
Hi, how are we doing? I'd like to start by saying I've completed a DOT train the trainer, so now I can train current staff, and if we hire new staff at some time, I can train those in-house now. Our recycling employees and hazmat employees, the site employees has all been doing some spring cleanup and getting ready for the spring and summer cleanup for everybody that's going to bring stuff in. We've started seeing a lot of customers coming in the door. It's been starting to get busy. People have been in the house and now they're getting out. Our hazardous waste has been doing some shipments. Again, cleaning out for the upcoming clean out for everybody else that's going to start coming in with the nice weather. And that's about it. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Board members, any questions? Ms. Piedmont Smith?
Yes, Mr. Long, your report mentions Catalent Pharma Solutions has made a large donation of supplies. What
Yes.
kind of supplies have they donated?
They donated us a few things. They donated secondary containment pallets that we can use in a hazmat, so we won't have to buy new ones. We can replace them with the new ones that Catalent has given us. They was going to discard theirs because they had too many of them. We have a great relationship right now with some of the Catalent and Cook. So anytime they contact me, I love using stuff before it goes in the trash, whether we use it here or we can get it to the public. So anytime they contact me, I go and look, or they send me emails and stuff, and I try to see if we can use it or the public can use it, and we get a secondary use out of it.
Okay,
I'm a
great.
big believer in reuse stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep.
So Mr. Long, how can the public easily find out what's available for reuse?
Well, we do it two ways. We put it on our sidewalk exchange program and we just give it away. Or our materials for the arts, we put it in there for donations to teachers, nonprofit groups, different things like that. And we have a lot of people come in for that stuff. And if they are looking for stuff, I contact the people at Cook that help us out and Cattle and tell them, hey, this is some of the material stuff that we're looking for. And that way they don't throw it away or recycle it and it comes to us, because there's such big groups in town that they do a lot of stuff.
So thank you. Further questions for Mr. Long? Thank you very much. We'll now hear from Mr. Lee Paulson regarding landfill and environmental compliance.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hello.
Um, There's really not, looking at my report there. There's really nothing, not a lot to really add to the report. Mary Beth and I have been trying to keep up with our crazy number of compliance cases and stuff like that. Just trying to keep up with that. And treatment plant's finally starting to do what we wanted to do. Kind of had the colder weather for the winter there, December, January, February. We weren't able to run a lot of cycles a day. Treatment plants, when they, especially because we're using a biological system, when the water's real cold, they don't react really well, and they don't treat very well. So it takes longer for them to do what they need to do to clean the water. We had to reseed a couple times over that, but I think now that we're kind of into warmer weather, I'm hoping that things are on the up and up and we can kind of get back to where we need to be to keep up with the rainfall and stuff like that. And it seems to be taking right now. We need the weather to kind of stay consistent and not drop down to the 20-degree mark and 70 degrees one day and 30 degrees the next. That doesn't work really well for that treatment plant. But and other than that, Mary Beth took a whole bunch of trainings in the past couple months so that she has got her required hours for her wastewater permit. And right now I'm trying to get everything prepared for our May groundwater. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Seeing none.
Ms. Munson,
Yes.
I just, given that we just discussed, a new Leachate Hauling agreement, I just, refer the board to the last page of the packet, page
There it is.
83. And you can note there, at the bottom of that, in the last 6 months, the treating leachate on site has saved the district almost $50,000, 49,000+ dollars. And if we had to have that leachate hauled away and disposed of, it would have cost $49,000. So I think it's important to recognize the benefits of doing that on-site treatment and the efforts of Lee and Mary Beth and keeping that plant going.
So I would like to note from Mr. Paulson's report for the public that there were 7 Adopt a Road cleanups completed. So big thanks to Alpha Phi Omega, Emmanuel Baptist Church, Sigma Lambda Upsilon, Alpha Chi Sigma, Lambda Upsilon Lambda, and 2 groups within the community. We could use even more of you if you keep your eye out as you drive by. You can see there's a lot of trash out there.
Yeah, there really seems to be. We talk about this all the time, and I don't know what's changed. But it seems that people care a little bit less, and whatever falls out of their truck or their car or they toss out the window, nobody goes back and takes care of their own stuff anymore. So we're very thankful for the community people that have done that. Mary Beth works very hard at working with people in different areas to try to organize in a way and facilitate their efforts to try to do stuff. I mean, we go out pretty routinely and pick up stuff that other people have picked up. If they're wanting to pick it up, we'll try to provide them some supplies and pick it up so they don't have to pay for the disposal costs. Man, that's just a huge benefit to us for other people to help out with that too. I mean, we didn't put the trash out there, so we're just trying to do and take care of other people's stuff. So, but it's tireless.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson. I'll just say we live in one of the most beautiful areas in the country, especially this time of year when the flowers are just starting to bloom, the trees are blooming, and then to see trash on the side of the road, it's a terrible, jarring thing.
Yep.
So keep it clean out there, people.
Yeah, please,
So,
please.
Ms. Keyvon Smith.
Yeah, while you and Mary Beth are tireless in your efforts, I do note, speaking of tires, that 48 tires were removed just in the month of March. So I think that
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
very timely for us to be continuing our pursuit of a waste tire disposal program. Because
Yeah, and
not that all 48 of those would have been disposed of properly, but some of them
Yes.
surely would.
in that sense, 30 of those came, so that was somebody had dumped 30 of those tires in one location that we went out and picked up and took care of, you know what I'm saying? So those were, the majority of that was one case. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. So board members, if there is no other business before us, we have a meeting with the CAC, which follows this meeting. So I would like to adjourn this meeting. Nope,
Public comment.
thank you. We need public comment for this meeting before we adjourn. Anything to offer? Thank you. We also have comments from the directors. Do you have anything to offer? And now we will adjourn. Thank you very much.